Topping today's news, former Prime Minister Hubert Ingraham doing well after emergency brain surgery. The Senate begins debate on the 2024-2025 budget. The House Speaker responds to accusations that she has been unfair to the opposition, and the Coalition of Independents calling on the government to renegotiate its BPL energy reform deal. Good evening, Bahamas. I'm Jarino Saunders. This is your JCN Evening News. Thank you so much for joining us. We start off with some good news. Former Prime Minister Hubert Ingraham is recovering well after a 2-hour emergency brain surgery on Tuesday night, reportedly for a blood clot. He was released from Doctors Hospital earlier today and headed home to his West Bay Street home to rest and recover. Upon being released, the former Prime Minister appeared to be in good spirits as he spoke with reporters and said he was comfortable and was not experiencing any pain. Mr. Ingraham was attended to by a team of talented doctors that included Dr. Magnus Ekedidi, who conducted the surgery, Dr. Adrian Cargill Jr., Dr. Neil Gabaron, and consultant surgeon Dr. Dwayne Sands. As debate on the 2024-2025 budget began in the Senate this morning, much like the Speaker of the House of Assembly, Patricia DeVoe, Senate President Lachelle Adderley reminded members that there are thousands of Bahamian citizens whose livelihoods depend on the passage of the budget, and that members were urged to not waste time with pointless points of order and requests for clarifications. Senator Michael Halkitis, leader of government business in the House and Minister of Economic Affairs, began the debate and continued the government's theme of changing the status quo, changing lives. He says the government is confident it is on the right track to revive the economy and tackle serious headwinds that are ahead.
This agenda of change, Madam President, was first laid out in our blueprint for change. Within the pages of our blueprint is a commitment to the Bahamian people, letting them know that from day one, we would make the hard choices, take on the issues that perhaps other governments were too afraid to touch, and build the foundation that will lead this nation to success for years to come. From day one, we have launched our ambitious change agenda with full knowledge that the monumental task of getting this country back on track would not be easy.
Senator Halkitis says the government will continue to listen to the concerns of the people and will remain relentless as they seek to change the status quo and change lives. Debate in the Senate is expected to wrap up on Thursday, the new fiscal year expected to begin on July 1st. Members of the opposition continue to question whether the House Speaker or the House of Assembly is operating fairly. Most recently, the Senator, Michaela Barnett Ellis, accusing Speaker of the House of Assembly, Patricia DeVoe, of acting unfairly towards members of the opposition. On Tuesday, Senator Barnett Ellis issued a scathing critique of the Speaker in a letter to the editor, accusing Ms. DeVoe of failing to follow House procedures, being condescending, and often losing her composure. On Monday in the House of Assembly, Leader of the Opposition, Michael Pintard, offered a similar critique, to which Ms. DeVoe defended her judgments.
We all know our rules, and I met you here. I believe you should know your rules too, right? And one of the things that you like to do is defy the order of this chair. I've taken it for a very long time, honorable member, and you still try and try. I don't know if it's because I'm a woman or a newbie or you just don't think nothing of me. But whenever I sit in this place, you're one of those members that like to just push the order of the measure. But let me say this to you. You gave the government advice. Let me say this. As a leader in this country, when one wants to lead, one must first follow. Okay?
Despite the Speaker's response, Senator Ellis says Ms. DeVoe has failed to balance competing interests and holding the government accountable. She is calling on the Speaker to support opposition members in performing their constitutional function. Ellis recommends the Speaker seeks the advice of the Clerk of the House of Assembly. While members of the House of Assembly had the day off today, as senators began debate on the budget, members of the Coalition of Independents gathered in Parliament Square to voice their displeasure in the energy reform plan, or on the energy reform plan that the government has entered into with Pike Corporation out of North Carolina, who will take over responsibility for restoring BPL's electricity grid and is seeking to raise some $30 million to do so. Leader of the Coalition of Independents, Leakin Bain, and Deputy Leader, Dr. McIver, or Dr. Veronica McIver, along with the National Chairman of the Coalition of Independents, Charlotte Green, they all say the government has entered into a bad deal and should be going back to the table to renegotiate the deal. The Coalition of Independents is also critical of the opposition for what they describe as a lackluster response to the BPL deal, which they describe as a disastrous deal for the people. And finally, in this segment, about 2 weeks ago, it seemed like the government and gas retailers were on the same page, and they would reach an agreement on the margins per gallon to provide some relief for retail operators. Well, according to one of the local dailies, gas retailers are considering a shutdown after being disappointed that there was no margin increase included in the 2024-2025 budget. Vasco Bastian, Vice President of the Petroleum Retailers Association, said members are growing impatient after 30 months of negotiations over a margin increase with the Davis administration, and they are ready to close their businesses for a day or two to demonstrate their irritation. Speaking to the Tribune Business on Tuesday, Mr. Bastian said gas retailers are still recovering from the COVID-19 pandemic and find it extremely difficult to continue operating under the current rate structure. It probably would be wise for you to keep a full tank of gas in your car over the next few weeks, just in case the dealers do decide to shut down. You're listening to JCN. We'll take a break here. We'll be right back after these commercials.